I think what defines what I do is like a complete willingness to fail.
Do you really, honestly, you have never had maybe a nostalgic feeling of something that you actually lost that you think,
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure,
that would be great, but
for sure. Well, I mean, one thing I do is like I tend to like a lot of ideas come, not a lot of ideas, but a fair amount of ideas come when I'm sleeping, you know, and I'm sure it's the same with a lot of people. It's like
yeah.
you'll have a song in your head while you're in a dream and you'll wake up and it's rolling through your head. And so what I usually do with that is I've got my phone beside me. I got like the voice memo thing, and I'll just like, you know, mumble some of it in, and then I'll mail it to myself in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And sometimes it results in like a really cool idea. And then other times it's just like a terrible idea that you've mumbled into the phone at 3 in the morning, right?
Yeah. And you're right.
But I mean, you're always going to lose things. I mean, I think,
Of course.
but I think that's kind of like the trade-off, right? Like, you know, being able to experience some things, I think ultimately requires like, you know, the ability to like, you know, rationalize or be okay with losing some of those ideas. Because I mean, ultimately, it's like if you're holding everything so tight and
Yeah.
you're unwilling to lose any of it, then I think it's like it's going to have like a level of like self-imposed importance on it that I think is going to ostracize people on
Yeah.
some level, right?
Maybe just a weird question, but where during this process, because you've had a pretty broad spectrum of sounds and music that you've created, where are there things that you figured out you couldn't do? I mean, you seem like a very talented musician, so to speak, but are there things that you
Yeah.
think this is really where I walk against my own wall?
I think that was one of the greatest things about this process for me is it's like, I think, you know, I spent a lot of years, and I think a lot of people spend a lot of years, and you know, I think it probably as a product of age, you get over it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you're like rolling on the fact that you're the best at anything, or that you're the most intelligent, or not, or just, you know, like any of these labels, you know what I mean? Like I'm the best guitar player, I'm hyper intelligent thinker, I'm the best producer, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think as soon as you start thinking that, you're going to spend like a lot of your time defending that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the best is like is an illusion, right?
But for yourself, where's for you the challenge sometimes, or how do you overcome a certain obstacle
I
that
cheat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, technically on the recording, I'm like, hey, I want to scream for 10 minutes here. But I can't scream for 10 minutes, so punch, 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 crossfade, add echo, there you go. You know? But I think ultimately it's like what I'm trying to put across is that emotional feeling. But I mean, God, man, it's like you can produce yourself in such a way to make yourself sound like the best singer in the world, right? But I mean, you got to be aware of the fact that you're just like, you know, you're not the best at anything, right? I mean, for example, like we just toured for the past month. I mean, I'm a good singer. I can get my point across, and when my voice is fresh, I think I'm a really good singer, right? But am I the best singer? Good God, no. And to really hammer that point home is the past, you know, week and a half I've been singing with Annika, you know? And it's like, you know, I sound like, you know, a total meathead heavy metal dork. And then all of a sudden, you know, she's like singing like a canary beside me. And it's like, but I think that's really cool because it doesn't mean that I'm not going to try. In fact, I think what defines what I do is like a complete willingness to fail, you know? And it's not my goal to fail, but man, I'll like, for sure, I'm willing to like try things under the complete overwhelming sense that, yeah, man, it's going to go
But
down
is
in
that
flames.
willingness to fail, is that only in the beginning of the work process? But at some point you have to conclude for yourself, this is going to fail or this is actually working. So at what point do you define?
Well, I think with that, it's like there's a sense of like how important is this to the theme, right? You know, like if the song is like really important to trying to make that emotional statement, which I mean, I really do like making the records like make you feel something by the end, right? Or wherever. I like that. I think that's cool. And so if there's a piece of music that's important to that piece of the puzzle that is not working, then in that case, I'll definitely find ways to like facilitate it or change it so that it does still achieve the same effect. But also taking into consideration, if it's a song that's not working, that doesn't add anything to it, that's like extraneous or like a footnote, then you're just like, you know what, let's just abandon this and like move on, right?